It's definitely not a regular through hike, that's for sure.
You definitely should not underestimate this trail.
Like, you could fall down a canyon and potentially no one would find you for a while.
I think a lot of the gnarly stuff is like really fun actually though. At least it is fun.
So much more dense with cool stuff than I expected.
This whole trail has been about problem solving. I didn't want to have a well-worn path to follow the whole way. I wanted to kind of figure this stuff out on my own. Everybody can find something out here for themselves. It's just about finding the thing that you enjoy doing and looking for the metaphors in it. There are people base jumping out here. It's absolutely insane.
That's just another thing on the list of stuff I'm never going to do.
All right, we are on our way out of Moab. But now that our friends are gone, it's just Fitty and I. And it's starting to feel like a real through hike, heading towards Canyonlands.
Candyland, yeah!
Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm gonna eat that apple. Who does that? That's free water. I'll just cut away the dirty parts. Second day in a row of road walking. This road walking is kind of just like busy work. It's faster walking, but it's boring. You just try and get it out of the way with, and then there's always good parts at the end. Section 1 complete. Living the good life.
Section 1, let's see. I broke a pole. I popped a ligament in my knee. That's going to be an issue pretty much late in every day, I think. I just tore my pants this morning, but they're duct taped together until I can get the ambition up to the motivation to stitch them together. The road walking, the dust from the road walking.
Other than that, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Now that we have section 1 done, it kind of feels like we have a little chunk of the trail knocked off. Milestones are an important part of any large task. This gives you something to work towards, and it also gives you a place to just kind of sit down, relax, and take in the view.
There is a place called Base Camp out there on the other side of Hurrah Pass. He'll help you with water and stuff like that. He's real friendly to Hayduke travelers.
We are on our way out of the base camp with a stoke level of 10.
I am there.
That place was freaking awesome. The guy is a pet tortoise.
African horned tortoise.
Okay, his name is Kobe.
200 pounds.
Back there when we arrived at the base camp, it was still early in the day and we still have a lot of miles to do left in this section. But that place is just way too good to pass up. That's the kind of experience that only comes along very rarely. Even though it didn't really fit into our schedules, it made a lot of sense to stay there anyway. But now that we're leaving this little paradise in the desert, I think we've got some gnarly stuff coming up. in the next couple days.
Wait. This way, right? Did you say go to the left or to the right?
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just not thinking about it that much. Just do, don't think.
Fitty's in denial. As we get further into the trail, Fitty and I will be more comfortable hiking on our own. One thing about these long distance hikes is that I really enjoy moving at my own pace. We're both pretty independent, and whoever's behind always ends up catching up eventually. After about 3 days of road walking, we are finally going cross country. Just left the dirt road to drop down into Lockhart Canyon. Now that the mindless busy work of the road is out of the way, this type of hiking just changed a lot more thought involved, because I have to figure out a way to get down into this canyon. The maps give us a good idea, but there's still a lot of work that we have to figure out on our own.
Oh shit. I don't know, man.
Ease it down slowly.
It seems so slippery though.
Alright, you're almost there. Almost on the rock. Almost on the rock. A little more. Right there. Like an inch more. There.
Okay.
Alright, that stuff's pretty loose.
Oh yes! Oh.
You got it. See, it looks like nothing.
From here it does, you're right. From up there it looks a lot worse.
Yeah. When you start going down, you can't feel your foot touching anything.
Yeah,
That's exactly. Freak out.
Should definitely be aware of the fact that the climbing is really not that easy. Like I thought, I read on the website this little text they write under the Hayduke slogan, and they say it's only for peak physical condition people. And I was like, yeah, it's the same bullshit as always. But then on trail, like some of the climbs have been really challenging. It's been way tougher than we thought. But it's also like a really rewarding trek. You definitely have a lot of beautiful days on trail. It's like, even if you're not enjoying it as much, it's only 800 miles. So, so you're not stuck in it forever. You can get done with it.
Get done with it. You're turning into an animal.
What can I say? It's a long day. I didn't have any food. Just got hungry. Sorry, buddy.
Yesterday was a long and hot day without water. We got to the end of the day and I barely had any water left. Fitty still had a good amount left, and he offered to give me some of his, but I didn't want to take any handouts if I could help it. We hiked into the night and finally found a spot where we could drop down into this wash. Just at the end of this wash up here, there's an old waterfall that must have dug a hole into the ground, and there's a good pool of water that we could pull from. So as if finding water wasn't difficult enough, sometimes when we do find a good source of water, it's really salty. It's kind of like drinking ocean water. But at least this time there's a couple more sources coming up. We're just coming off of a nice long lunch break in preparation for another descent into the canyons. How's your stoke level for the canyons?
Not that great, to be honest with you. Like 4.
4?
Yeah.
I think this stuff is fun, but it can also be super sketchy, and we don't know exactly how to get through this stuff, so it's a lot of figuring it out on the fly. Descending down into these canyons is a descent into the unknown. We just continuously come to these places where it seems like there's no way around. And so we have to kind of fan out and explore and just look for another way down. But that's kind of the point of these whole adventures in the first place, is an exploration into the unknown. We just screwed up really bad. After walking down this wash for basically the whole afternoon, we found out that it wasn't the right one. After we left the road, we got sucked down into a canyon that was completely the wrong canyon, and we basically just went backwards for, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles. We're both kind of low on water, and we don't see any water coming up for the rest of the day, basically.
That's it. This could be our death march.
Kind of seems like everything's going wrong, so it's really easy to go down a negative path, and then you kind of spiral downward. All that does is make it more likely that you're going to make bad decisions and make the situation even worse. So I find it helps to at least try and focus on whatever little positive things that you can find. So this is our route out of the canyon that we shouldn't have been in the first place. Once we get to the top, then we'll take a road back to about where that mountain is, which is where we took our lunch break at about noon. So this is where it all went wrong. This is the pole that marks where we were supposed to leave the road to drop down into the canyon, and that was about 6 hours ago. Give me a stoke level.
I'm delirious and my stoke is in the negative territory. I'm dying. Well, it wouldn't be a great story if something didn't get fucked up along the way.
Now the next step is to figure out what to do, see if we're going to actually find some water for tonight, or if we're going to be camping dry. We made it to this big drop off last night. We had no water left, and we camped. Just saw this morning that the water is right down there.
It's so cold this morning.
Yeah, it is freezing. Oh. It's down into like the low 30s, and it's windy, and we're very thirsty. Oh. All right, let's do it.
I don't like it.
Just a couple ledge drops, and then we get to drink water. These are good steps.
Should I do it?
Yeah. You do the gargoyle approach. Nice.
Yes. There's water down there.
Yeah.
This one's almost too easy. This is one of the more difficult things. Did I not say anything yet?
Stoke level is back up at about an 8 again. We actually know where we are. We're going the right way, and we're walking through some really cool stuff right now. Traveling through the wilderness, there is so much more that can happen in a day. I like to think that I experience about as much in a day of through hiking as I do in maybe a week in regular life. There are a lot more extreme highs and lows in emotion, and if it's something that you're aware of, you can learn how to extend the extreme highs and kind of mitigate the extreme lows.
I'm gonna roll my pack down and then I can do it.
Okay. Now he's packless.
I still don't love it. Okay. Use the tools.
Yep. The wilderness is a tool for teaching us how to problem solve. We just don't have very many resources at our disposal. That's what makes experience so important no matter what we're doing, because out here the physical toolkit pretty much always stays the same. You can never carry more than what you can put in your backpack, but experience is basically limitless. And the more experience one has, the bigger their toolkit actually is. It's just going to be a short day of road walking today. Just have about 4 miles till we get to the Needles outpost, and that'll be our next resupply point. It's not quite a town stop. All they have is like a restaurant and a little store and maybe some campsites, but that's all we really need. It'll give us a chance to rest up, charge everything, and maybe even take a shower.
Okay, well, here's the situation. We've been pretty stoked about getting in for a resupply, and once we got to the outpost, I started just kind of thinking about what lies ahead. Anybody who watches my blooper reel is going to know that I'm just not comfortable with a lot of these descents and ascents. When we screwed up a couple of days ago and went down the wrong canyon, it really made me realize that when we're out here in these elements, even the smallest mistake can be magnified 100 times. And it made me see how people can really get into a bad, dangerous situation. We hung out here at the outpost, and Chelsea, the young lady who works here, has graciously offered to take me back to Moab. I turn 55 next week. It's my official retirement, and so I can go do whatever I want, wherever I want. And the cool thing is there's just an uncertainty about that, and that's fine. It's going to be fun to see where I land. The biggest lesson that I take away is if we're doing something that is not fun, then there's no point in doing it. Go do something that's fun.
Well, just like that, I'm on my own now. We didn't see this coming. Not even Fitty saw this coming this morning. Once Fitty and I started looking over the maps for this next section, it was starting to look pretty rough. And the past few days have already been pretty hard with the exposure that we've been dealing with and lack of water and all that. And I mean, I find it kind of exciting, but that's not the kind of hiking that Fitty is out here for. So it's definitely a bummer that he's not continuing on from here, but I totally understand. There's a popular saying among thru hikers, and it's hike your own hike. And if this isn't your kind of hike, then it would be stupid to continue on.
Like in the bad times, it's nicer to have a buddy to hike with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered some hikes in New Zealand where I was pretty down, and then you just keep thinking about all the bad stuff, and then you go lower and lower.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't like to hike it alone. If you hike alone, just to know that if something happens, maybe you just lie there for days. Even just twisting your ankle and you're in a 20-mile dry stretch, it's like, you could be, and it's 100 degrees, 90 degrees, 100 degrees out, you could be in a pickle pretty quickly.
One of the things I like the best about the Hayduke is I feel like I'm in the wilderness sometimes, and you're on your own, and if you screw up, you screw up, but no one's there. And it's hard to find. So unless anybody, for some whatever reason, actually watches this, and like, don't come do it, because the best part is that you're not out here.
I kind of like the solitude out here. There are definitely times when I feel lonely in camp or when I get into town, but I actually enjoy hiking alone. Out here there is plenty of time and no distractions. The only thing you have to keep you company is your own thoughts. And that's something that has become increasingly hard to find in regular life. A lot of people use distractions to keep from thinking about those negative thoughts in the back of their mind. And if they aren't dealt with, I think it's a lot like you're walking towards a cliff and just ignoring that the cliff is there. You don't want to fall off a cliff, so you would rather just ignore it. But that cliff is coming up either way. And if you deal with those negative thoughts early enough, then maybe you can find a safe way down the cliff. But if you ignore them, then you're just going to fall off a cliff. I've come to one of those places where there is only one way out of this canyon, and it's up there. They said there's some sort of chimney climb. For once, it actually looks a little bit more doable up close.